Eziokwu bundu, your truth will set you free. Any bad choices I make is going to come back and bite me on the... Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, your girl Agozim. If this is your first time of seeing my face, my name is Chiagozim Ezigwe, Agozim for short. On this channel, I share lifestyle content, anything around immigration, settling in smoothly as an international student in Canada, as well as a PR, or anything I feel like you guys may love. I just record and bring it to you guys firsthand. If this is the kind of content you like, even if this is not the kind of content you like, please do well to click on the subscribe button you see below. And also tap on the thumbs up you see below. That is what notifies YouTube that you guys love my content, and that is how they push my content to other people to know there is somebody called Chiagozim Ezigwe, okay? Thank you for coming back and thank you for stopping by. The last time I sat down to do a sit-down video, I was in a different environment. I was still living in Wetaskiwin in my tiny bedroom, and now we're in a different environment. I can't believe I've spent 3 freaking years in Canada. It just feels like yesterday. If this is your first time of seeing my face, let me give you guys a quick intro because the OGs already know how we got here. I moved to Canada in 2022, September 20th of 2022. I'm very careful with that calculation because I left Nigeria on the 18th of September. And I had a lot of layovers. So I'm very, very careful when calculating when I left Nigeria and when I landed in Canada. So I landed in Canada on the 20th of September of 2022. I came to Canada to study nursing and I graduated April 30th of 2024. So I'm a little over 1 year as a nurse here in Canada, and the ride has been smooth so far. I don't even have any reason to complain. With that being said, let's get down to why we are here today. I clocked 3 years in Canada, September the 20th of 2025, and I kept on reminiscing how far I've come, how far God has brought me, how I left Nigeria, the rush and everything. If you've been an OG on this channel, remember I landed 1 month late for my program, and the whole craze and the whole rush to come start school, and at the end of the day I graduated well, started working almost immediately. So it's just been amazing for me. Let's do a quick recap of how my 1 year in Canada was. My 1 year in Canada was just basically me going to school, trying to understand the country, the curriculum. I didn't really have time to do anything extracurricular. It was mostly about focus on school because so much money was spent to send me to this country to study. Briefly about my year 2 in Canada, my year 2 was also about studying, but in my year 2 I was already like much more settled. I already knew where to go, what to do at every point in time. So I was already much into the whole school and work-life balance, going to school and going to work at the same time. My year 1, I really struggled with that. I'm not even going to lie. I became a badass in combining school and work. And let me tell you guys, all through my nursing school, I think we were like 2 or 3 in my class that worked while going to school. So kudos to me. I think I was able to navigate that really good. Now let's get down to my year 3 in Canada, which is why we are here today. My friend asked me the other day, if given an opportunity to move again, where would you move to? Let's say I wasn't in Canada, and with my experience in Canada, and let's say I go back to Nigeria and they say, okay, oh yeah, Japa again, where would you Japa to? I would definitely Japa again to Canada. And I have reasons to that. One of my major reasons is this country, I feel very safe and accepted. I've not had any reason to be like, oh, I regret moving to Canada. Never ever have I said that. My journey here has been very swift. I've not had any reason to suffer. I've not had any reason to sit down and go through that period of depression and be like, I want to leave, I want to go home. I've never ever been in that situation. So if given another opportunity to Japa again, if you're not Nigerian, Japa means like relocation. If given another opportunity to relocate again, Canada would be my first destination because why not? I don't regret one bit about moving here. I am very happy, and so far what I've achieved, how my life is moving, and I don't really have any cause to say, okay, I want to now wake up and pack all my things and move to Mozambique. I'm not saying that Mozambique is a bad country. You guys don't get me wrong. I'll be like, oh, I'm packing my bag to move to the US, the UK. So far, so good. Nothing has given me the courage to say I'm packing up my bag to move to another place. Let's talk about my year 3 in Canada while I tell you guys some things I love about Canada. My year 3 in Canada has actually been a very, very fast one. So some things I've achieved in my year 3 in this country is me getting another job, getting a full-time job. If you're new here, I recently moved to Edmonton. I was living in a small town called Wetaskiwin. It's about an hour away from where I currently live. And it's a very small town. I schooled there. That was why I landed there. Right after nursing school, I got a job in Wetaskiwin. And from one particular job, I got another job in Wetaskiwin the second time. So that second job I got, I did it for like a period of 1 year before I decided to look for another job in the city, which is Edmonton, and I moved to Edmonton. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because one of the things I love about this country is that me having in mind that I can apply for a job, I can qualify for that job, and I can get that job without being sidelined. I know my capability. I know that I can apply for this job. I can get the job without knowing anybody. I don't have to know A and B. I don't have to know the manager. I don't have to know any doctor for me to get a job. So this is something that is not very common where I'm coming from. I'm very, very grateful that I can put in the work, and the work I put in can give me great results. That is one thing I love about this country. Let's get on to the things I've learned in Canada so far, but most especially in this year 3, because now I'm beginning to see these things first time, because now I'm out of school, I'm living on my own. So I'm beginning to experience life in a different light. So let's get on to it. First point is learning that your life is not tied to a job. Now let me buttress on that more. Like I said before, it was easy for me to glide through from one job to another job to another job in this country. Now, your life is not tied to a job in the sense that you don't have to be like, oh, I'm going to be on this job. I cannot get another job. I'm going to sweat and be on this job. Whether I like this job or I don't like this job, I'll just be there. No, your life is not tied to a job. There is flexibility. You can decide to wake up, pack your things, and apply for a job in Lethbridge, Toronto, Vancouver, wherever it is. Apply for a job, qualify for the job, and you move there. Your manager is not going to start beefing you and be like, oh, you are moving, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't work like that. Your life is not tied to a job. There is flexibility. And now let me also mention that even on the job, let's say now me, I'm a nurse where I currently work at the hospital here in Edmonton. Let's say I'm at work and maybe somebody calls in sick. Maybe I've already done my 12-hour shift and my 12-hour shift is coming to an end. And my manager comes, or maybe the head nurse comes and be like, oh, Chi, would you like to spend extra 4 hours because somebody called in sick? I have the right to say no without feeling, oh, I'm going to step on toes, or without feeling some sort of way for saying no. So your life is not tied to a job. You can say no without feeling like, oh, they're going to punish me, or no, they're going to do this, no, they're going to do that. That's my point. Your life is not tied to a job. And I've actually come to understand that more, because when I was a student, and I was a housekeeper at this retirement home, I used to think that my life was tied to that job. But I'm like, because coming from Nigeria, I think it's just trauma. Coming from Nigeria, I'd be like, I don't want somebody to come and fire me because I said no, this, that. My friend that used to work in the company, I'd be like, you don't owe anybody anything. You come do your 8-hour shift and you go home. If it doesn't work for you, say no. Now that I'm out of school, I'm now much more independent. I've come to understand that my life is not tied to a job. I can say no when it's not convenient for me. Second point is I've learned to be patient. Canadians are very, very patient. Like, I don't even know people that are this patient. Let me give you guys an example. So when I was looking for an apartment, when I came to Edmonton here to look for an apartment, and when I finally found this place, they kept on sending me paperwork about things to fill out, my credit score, all those things, submitting my pay stub, the whole paperwork. Then I was still working in Wetaskiwin, packing, doing all those things. I was so stressed. I was like behind time with like submitting all the paperwork they asked me to submit. So one day I called them. I was like, I'm so sorry that I'm very, very behind with stuff. What they told me was like, Chiagozim, don't worry, take your time. The apartment is not running away. We know you are still working where you live, and we're going to be very, very patient with you. Don't rush. Don't think you are behind. Like, How many people would even do that? So one thing I've come to understand, that Canadians are very, very patient. And me, myself, I'm beginning to also learn to be patient, not to be like anxious and be like, oh, if I don't do this at this particular time, something is going to spoil. So that patience, I'm really, really learning it, because I live in a country where majority are very, very patient. So I myself, I have to learn how to be patient. To add to this number 2 point is, I've also learned to be very, very flexible. Being a float nurse at the hospital where I currently work has taught me so much about flexibility. And honestly, there's one thing you can take away from this video today, especially if you're coming to Canada from Nigeria, because I know how rigid we can be back home. Don't even get me started on that. Learn how to be flexible in every way, with your choices, with every single thing. Don't be so tied to one particular thing and be like, oh, this is how it's going to be. It doesn't work like that. Be flexible. The third lesson that Canada has taught me in these 3 years of living in this country is there is actually dignity in labor. You know, where we are coming from, I keep saying where we are coming from because I've not lived, apart from Canada and Nigeria, I've not lived in any other country. So these are the 2 countries I'm going to use and tell you guys my story, okay? I've visited other countries, but I've actually lived in another country apart from Nigeria and Canada. With that being said, so when I say where I'm coming from is because back home, you see people that do like, you see like janitors, cleaners, people that do like these menial jobs. People look down on them. Oh, you're a slave, you are this, you are that. No, people here that do all these menial jobs. I used to do menial job. My first job in this country was as a housekeeper. I was mopping the floor. I was doing stuff that I did not know I could ever do in my life. And every single person in that retirement home respected my job, respected my role. I wasn't spoken to anyhow. The time that one of my managers wanted to intimidate me and I took the case up, that manager, a housekeeping manager, was disciplined by the general manager. So to tell you that there is really dignity in labor here. So that is one thing I've come to learn. Anybody I see at work, if you're like a janitor, you are a porter at the hospital, you are whatever you are, I give you the same respect I give that doctor that comes on the unit, because there is dignity in labor. Here, you don't look down on anybody. You don't know anybody's story. You don't have the right to look down on anybody. That is one thing I've learned. And even if I decide to visit Nigeria today, I'm going to accord the same respect to that house help, that driver, that gatesman, whoever, because I'm coming from a place where there is dignity in labor. I'm going to add a little bit about dignity in labor. I know some people come here and they be like, I cannot do this job, I cannot do that job because it's below me, it's beneath me. I'm not saying you should come here and settle for less. That is not why we are here. I always advise people, go for the highest, go for the best, okay? But when that best is not coming at the time, you getting a job whereby you're cleaning or you are doing something, maybe in your country, you were a big man, a big one. What I mean by a big man, you are wealthy, you are living large, you were living the life, and now you have to come to a country whereby you have to do like menial jobs. Honestly, there is nothing wrong with that, to be very, very honest. Like I said, I'm not saying you should settle for less. If that big thing is not coming, just know that even that menial job you're going to do, you are still going to be very, very much respected, okay? So don't be scared. The fourth thing that living in Canada has taught me is budgeting. God, I budget for every single thing. If you watched my last vlog where I was talking about budget for the month for groceries, I said that my budget for the month for groceries is $200. And I'm not even laughing, but I know I always exceed that. But that is to tell you how far I try to budget. See, if you follow me on Instagram, you know how much I like to splurge. You know how much I like to spoil myself, buy things for myself. Most of those things are budgeted for. I cannot just wake up and go and pull money from my emergency fund just to go and buy Naturium body wash if I did not plan to buy Naturium body wash. Every single thing I spend my money is budgeted. When I finished nursing school and I got my first paycheck, I was like, I've never made this amount of money in my life, and I splurged. And after that, I was like, I got to say, this is not how it's going to be. And I spoke to a financial advisor, and she was able to guide me on TFSA, FHSA, RRSP, and all that good stuff, and also how to save emergency funds. she helps me create like an Excel sheet to write down my budget for the month, allot a particular amount of money to all those budgets, and help me like set my finances up, and also help me set up a life insurance. So now I budget more. So I know when I was in Nigeria, I wasn't really like a budget freak, but right now, even though it may look as though I'm always splurging, I'm always buying stuff, I budget a lot. If it's not worth my coins, I'm not buying it. Now, let me give you guys an example, because we're in November and Black Friday is coming. For most things I plan to buy during Black Friday, I start budgeting and saving from January, so that when it's November, I don't have to pull money from my emergency fund or pull money from my TFS or FHSA to meet that particular need, if you guys understand. So living in this country has taught me that budgeting is very, very big, because if you don't budget, you now use money that you're supposed to use and do important things, and now spend them on frivolities, you find yourself under the bridge. Okay, so this country, you have to budget. It has really, really taught me budgeting, especially after school, because right now I'm solely responsible for myself. I cannot just wake up and carry my phone and call my sister, Chidinma, please, I need $1,000. She too, she needs $1,000. Do you understand? I can't just wake up and call my brother or my friend, please, I need $2,000 for XYZ, because I'm working. Why are you begging for money? Okay, if you don't budget, you're going to be in debt in this country. Another thing I've learned in my 3rd year of living in Canada is credit utilization, how to use my credit card effectively, and how to build my credit score. When you come to Canada, that is one of the things we are being told, oh, get a credit card, use it, this is that, is not a loan. In this, my 3rd year of living in Canada, I've come to know how to use my credit card more, so I don't end up being in debt, okay? I don't like debt. I don't like basic. One thing Canada has taught me through the people I know here that have a lot of family members back home is knowing how to say no. I know it's very, very hard, but knowing how to say no. If you don't have it, you don't have it. I think this is not even about what Canada has taught. It's about common sense. Even like in real life situations, if you didn't date, you didn't date. If you don't have it, you don't have it. So learning how to say no and learning how to put yourself first, because you are the one making the money. If your finances should crash right now, you're going to find yourself under the bridge. And what happens to those people back home? You cannot give them money. Money is not going to come out. So making sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure, knowing how to say no when you don't have it, when it didn't day. The 5th thing I've learned in my 3rd year of living in Canada is independence. Prior to moving to Canada, I wasn't living alone. I was living with family, and I lived with family apart from when I was schooling in UNN, but still I was still under someone's care. You can't compare that to now that I'm living in Canada, that I don't even have a single family member in Canada. Everybody is all the way back in Nigeria. Here I'm alone. So here I'm totally responsible for myself. So any action I take is going to come back and affect me positively or negatively. If I apply for a job, I get a good job, I start earning well, that action, which is me applying for a job, is going to come back and affect me positively. If I decide to be a drunk, going out to club, doing drugs, it's going to come back and affect me negatively. I work in healthcare, and I've seen how bad choices has affected people in so many ways. So living in this country, I'm very, very careful about the people that are around me, people that hang around me, what I do, what I listen to, who I engage, who I indulge. Because not because you're independent, you now be foolish. I've come to understand I am on my own. Nobody is coming to save me. If something should go bad now, I'd be like, I don't have my rent for this month. Probably somebody is going to come and save me, because I still have like amazing people around me. But that is not the point I'm trying to make. I have it at the back of my mind that I have to be responsible for every choice I make, any step I plan to take. How is it going to affect me? I'm independent. I live alone. So any bad choices I make is going to come back and bite me on the bum. That is one thing I've learned in this my 3rd year of living in Canada. Being responsibly independent. The next thing that living in Canada has taught me is you don't need plenty of friends to be able to survive. See, back in Nigeria, I had a lot of friends. I had a battalion of friends. Everybody was my friend. I'd be like, this is my friend, this is my friend, that is my friend, that is my friend, that is my friend. Like, I could be walking on the road, hello, hi. Like, I had so many friends. But here, I've come to understand that less is more. You don't need plenty friends. See, when I came to Canada, my first day in class, the chick that sat close to me that gave me her notes has been my friend since then. She has been helpful. I've also been helpful in my own little way towards her. Now we are more like sisters. I go to her house. I love her mom. I love her daughter. I go there for sleepover. I don't need 1 million friends. This is one person I've come to really, really like. Speaking of friends, now that I'm working and I'm living alone, I'm no longer a student, I've come to understand that your co-workers are not your friends. This is not Nigeria whereby your co-worker, you people go out, drink, they know your house, you know their house, they know your social media, you know their social media. People are DMing each other, laughing, maybe they even have your best interest at heart. Here, it's totally different. I've seen people that were friends with their co-workers in this country and their co-workers threw them under the bus. Some people have lost their jobs because they are body with their co-workers. Here, your co-worker is not your friend. In as much as I say that Canadians are very, very nice, yada, 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 your co-worker is not your friend. I've come to learn that. I did not experience that myself, but I've seen somebody that her co-worker did dirty. So your co-worker is your co-worker and not your friend. Another thing I've learned in my 3 years of living in Canada, this point is kind of related to the first point I made about your life is not tied to a job. Now, at this point, you have the right to say no to anybody, whoever the person is. You have the right to say no, and there will be no repercussion for that. Saying no is not going to put me in trouble. Knowing that I can say no and that no I've said is not going to put me in trouble. Another thing I've learned in my 3 years of living in Canada is being punctual. To be very, very honest, when I was living in Nigeria, I used to be a very, very late goer. I'll go late for anything and everything. Before I came to Canada, I used to work in a salon. That's where I learned how to lock hair, do hair more, like get like salon experience. Guys, I used to go late. Even though that place of work was behind my house in Otako, I would still go late. People that were coming from Gwagwalada, very, very far places, they will come to work before me that was living behind that place. Now I go to work very, very early. I come in 30 minutes before my shift starts. Let's say you have an appointment that is scheduled for 8 a.m. and you come there 8:05 and you don't call them prior, be like, okay, I'm running late, there's traffic, or it's snowing, or something happened, or maybe something happened, and you just show up. That appointment is not going to happen. So one thing this country has taught me is being punctual. And in that vein, this country has also taught me about being truthful. You don't have to lie about anything. I'm telling you, you don't have to be lying. Oh, you just be lying for no reason. Because nobody wants to listen to your lies. Here, Ezioku Bundu, your truth will set you free. You see that's the Bible said, truth will set you free. There is no point for you to lie. You don't have to lie to please anybody. You don't have to lie and be lying. And lie, the one they asked you, the one they did not ask you, just be lying and be going. This country has taught me to be very, very punctual for appointments. If I can't meet up, I'll call and cancel and reschedule. I don't have to lie. My leg broke. My tire went flat. My jacket flew away. You don't have to lie. Be punctual. If you can't make it, reschedule. Another thing I've learned about living in this country is that everybody is always working. People are always working. But recently, I'm trying to tell myself that, Agosi, your life is not tied to a job, like I always say. You need to learn work-life balance. I'm still a work in progress when it comes to that, because I just go to work. On my days off, I just stay in bed, go to the gym and do like small things, do vlogs for you guys, and that's it. One thing I'm trying to learn is like going out more, even if I don't have to. It doesn't have to be a date. I don't have to go out with my partner. It doesn't have to be something very, 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 very bougie or anything. I can just dress up and go out and have fun and come back. I don't have to go with anybody. So I'm really, really learning that. And God, please help me. Let me. It come 2026. I want to really, really want to go out on my own, like independently, do my thing and come back to my house. Having a very good work-life balance is very, very important. To my next point is politeness, being respectful. I'm not saying I was a disrespectful person when I was in Nigeria. That is not the point. Here, Respect is very, very important. People are very, very polite. Nobody is shouting, hey, it's my turn. Hey, do this for me. Do you know who I am? Do you know I'm the father of the this? Do you know I'm the daughter of this minister, of the mayor of the this? Do you know I'm the bishop's daughter? No, it does not happen like that. Here, everybody is polite. Nobody is yelling. Nobody is shouting. Nobody is cursing anybody out. When it gets to your turn, you go for your turn. People smile. Do you know one of my culture shocks when I moved to Canada was that you'll be walking, somebody look at you and be like, I'm like, why are people smiling? Like, people in these countries, like, they are very, very, they are too happy. But I've come to understand that is what their culture is. When they see you, they smile. They ask you, how was your day? How are you doing today? Are you okay? Can I get you a cup of coffee? People here are very, very polite. I cannot relate to that when I was in Nigeria. Polite people want to know how you're doing genuinely. People really care. I'm not saying you should not go and and don't familiarize yourself with your environment. I'm not saying there are no bad people. No, don't go and now be, hey, I'm at Mount Zion. That is not what I'm saying. People here are very, very polite, but still have spirit of discernment to know when somebody is treating you good and when someone is treating you good. Okay? The last point of what I've learned in my 3 years of living in Canada, which I'm still trying to learn very, very hard, is accepting the fragrance-free rule. This country, a lot of places, they don't accept fragrance. So if you're a perfume girly and you work in the hospital and you're planning to come to Canada, you're planning to come and do nursing, calm down. Because here, a lot of places, especially in healthcare, people do not wear perfumes. You're not allowed to use anything that is highly scented. Even the other day at the gym I attend, I saw like a sticker that says, this is a scent-free zone. Please, if you are using this zone, some people may be allergic to a particular scent whatsoever. I'm like, but let me drive you guys somewhere, okay? I don't have a car, but let's go somewhere. Somewhere I'm about to go is that some people here can smell badly. But I don't understand why they still do not use that same motivation, that same drive to say, please don't smell. But one thing this country has taught me is just respecting that some people can be allergic to different scents and fragrances. When I go to work, I have a couple of perfumes, but when I go to work, I don't wear perfume. I use like unscented lotions or lotions that are very, very low in scent so that I don't cause any allergic reaction on anybody. And in this country, people carry EpiPen in their bag. People are allergic to all manner of things. I think I've come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this sit down video of what I've learned so far in my 3 years of living in Canada, do give me a thumbs up. Drop a comment in the comment section if you already live in Canada. Tell me how long you've lived in Canada and what you've learned so far about living in Canada. And I'll be so happy to read you guys' comments. It's already getting dark and I'm about to go to work for my night shifts. Like I said, I don't go late for anything. This is 16:39. This is 4:39 and I leave home at 6 p.m. I don't like to go late to work at all. I'm going to quickly take my thumbnail and I'm going to catch you guys on another sit down video. I hope you guys like this space anyways. See you guys. Keep being fabulous.